Welcome everybody. This is the first review on Shojo Snack. We are doing a media review of a manga today. It is a single manga, it's not a series, but it's by a creator that has done many other series, and it is this manga right here from the creator of Fake, Sanami Matoh. So Fake I was familiar with. I haven't read the series, but I'm definitely familiar with the creator's art. This was published, you can see on the spine here, by Tokyo Pop. And then here is the back. There's a cute little cityscape. It is marked T for teen, and it does have the mystery symbol there, the short description of the story on the back, and then there's kind of the breakdown of cost. This was published by Tokyo Pop, like I said, created by Sanami Matoh. The copyright is 1995, but it looks like it was set in English text, copyright 2006 by Tokyo Pop. Like I mentioned earlier, the creator has also done Fake, which is a manga series, but also has, I believe, an anime series. I'm just taking a look at myanimelist.net for this particular one, and it says it was published by Tokyo Pop in English October 10th, 2006. The original copyright date, like I said, was 1995. It is finished. The genres are comedy, supernatural. The demographic is shoujo, and the story and art was done by Sanami Matoh in this particular manga. So I'm going to read the summary off the back, which is the first thing that I read whenever I purchased this book. I didn't know what to expect really. It said comedy and mystery, and it was rated T for teen, so I wasn't sure what I was getting into. So on the back here, it says Rai from the creator of Fake, and then the description says Al Foster is a private detective whose workaday life suddenly shakes up with the arrival of a 13-year-old Rai Spencer, youngest son of the billionaire Spencer family, genius child prodigy, and unrepentant smart aleck. Rai has an unusual gift. His telekinetic powers can knock out anyone who stands in his path. He also has a sister who sports a mean left hook. But what Rai desperately needs is someone to figure out who has been trying to kill him for the past month. So that was what I had going into the story. And then down here at the bottom it gives a little subsection that says, from international best-selling mangaka Sanami Matoh, creator of the hit Fake, comes a hard-boiled mystery, an explosive drama, romance, and bursts of shining light. So that was kind of my first thing going in. That was a look at the physical book and the piece on the back there. So we know right away from the back we have a character named Al Foster and another character named Rai Spencer. Then we have the sister, and it says we're going to be going on some sort of detective adventure to see who is trying to kill Rai. So as stated on the back of the book, the plot is mainly Rai Spencer's life is in danger, and they are trying to figure out who is trying to kill him. You learn pretty quickly throughout the story that Rai can take care of himself. His telekinetic powers are explosive, to say the least, so he has no problem defending himself and others around him. Al is not my favorite character. He is the detective. He's very suave, and he does take care of business. He's serious, but he's also the comedic relief most of the time. And then the other characters that are kind of sprinkled in, you get to know them for a little while, and they're just there. The resolution to the main plot, I can tell you right now, I finished the first chapter and I was like, okay, roll credits, that's the end. We resolved the issue. And then I realized there's 3 more chapters left, and I'm like, what are we gonna do in these 3 chapters that we didn't already do in the first one where we resolved the issue on the back of the book? So just be prepared to be shocked that the resolution comes in 1 chapter. So she has a cute little afterwards here, with little Rai standing there. And after reading this, I understood why I don't know, I was just surprised that it was resolved in 1 chapter. But reading her afterwards, I kind of understand. She says, hi everyone, thanks for buying a copy of Rai. This is a title originally drew a long time ago for a different publisher even. Looking back at it now, it's not the best art I've done. The original sketches were a mess. I never had enough time to fix them. It wasn't a project I planned to revisit, but we received so much fan mail begging for more Rai that it was eventually decided to publish the title as a standalone volume. I didn't have the time to touch up everything I wanted, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Truth be told, I started drawing a lot of the original sketches for this over 4 years ago, but never finished any of them. Coming back to it now and trying to finish them was tough, but I'm really glad Rai finally made it into bookstores, really. So, I can tell just from that, she wasn't completely happy with the work, but she's happy that she got it out for the fans. And that to me explains a lot when I look at a lot of the artwork in there. Of course, it's recognizable. I know who did it. Not everyone can be perfect. And honestly, like she said in there, she never expected it to be published or, published in that format. But reading that really gave me a lot more insight into the media that I had just consumed. So take that and then read the book. But overall, because I didn't read the afterword until I'd already finished the book. And so I finished the book, read the afterword, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes so much more sense. Because I was kind of like, this is just strange. I'm not sure how to feel about this. So first we're going to look at what went well. I think that, like I said before, the art was very recognizable. Honestly, just because I was familiar with fake. Which I don't recommend for everyone, but I was familiar with the artist. I can say that I was definitely pleasantly surprised by how well the characters in the world were presented. The world building was sufficient to kind of get you into the story. The characters were believable in a shoujo mindset, mind you. And I will say overall, this story, the characters, the book itself were all wholesome. But yeah, it was just a wholesome read. It was a feel-good read. There wasn't anything in there that would necessarily make you sad or angry or anything like that. It was just all kind of a fun, comedic ride and with a little bit of mystery sprinkled in. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a mystery story. I would still call it a comedy. Definitely romance. Those are the three that I would definitely peg it as. Overall, what went well was the art was pleasing, the storyline was good, the characters were believable, I loved the scene settings, and the interaction between the characters was very cute. Now I'm going to balance out all that sweetness with a little bit of actual critique. I think the story felt very pushed or rushed. It was like, oh, you have this great thing. Okay, let's just get it out there. And she's like, no, wait, I'm not done. But, they let her make a couple of corrections and then they just put it out. So after reading the first chapter, like I said, I remember getting, okay, roll credit vibes because I was like, oh, the story's over. And then I was like, wait, there's 3 chapters left. What's going on? But I really wish that the first chapter would have been spread out a little farther. That way the mystery aspect could have been more involved. I feel like if that's going to be the main plot device on the back of the book, it should have at least been 3 chapters out of the 4. That way the author could have gotten a chance to, really expand the main plot and story and talk about that. And then in the end, you have 1 chapter of afterwards that's making those people want more. Although we spent the first chapter resolving the main plot and then we got 3 chapters of afterwards, I still feel like the characters could have been a little bit more fleshed out, or like they were so predictable. And that sounds harsh, but I feel like the characters should have been more of a varied response to things. I will say that this manga has some very like dark grainy pages. You can clearly see what's going on, but it's just like the print was slightly, blurred in some places. So I don't know if that was a stylistic choice, if that's actually what they look like, or if it just happened when they were printing. Like this page in particular, because it was kind of like gray and blurred, and the image was kind of, it didn't look right to me. Some of the references in the book were completely lost on me. It's supposed to be a comedy, and they were constantly making quick jokes or witty comments, and I don't know if it was just based on the time that it was written, or the area that they were from, or the area the author's from, but a lot of the jokes were lost on me. I remember reading through and being completely confused at a couple of them, going back and was like, oh, that was supposed to be a joke, or oh, that was supposed to be something witty. And it just right over my head. I didn't get it. So that was one of the things that was also jarring to me, was the sheer amount of comedic relief that was just lost on me completely. Another thing that really jarred me while reading the book was some of the directional cues were not evident. So, normally when you're reading manga panels, you are given directions not only by the word bubbles, but by the section panels themselves. Or the way that the character is drawn draws your eye to what you're supposed to be looking at. And I feel like there were a couple of segments where I got completely lost because there was no directional cue. It was okay because I went back and, was able to catch myself, but I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at? Where am I supposed to go? What is the character looking at? What direction are they facing? So I have two numerical rating sections. One is the enjoyment scale and one is the recommendation scale. And then I have a section where I talk about how likely it would be for me to return to the media. In the first section, enjoyment scale, I would say probably an 8. Most of that is going to be the art. A little bit of that's going to be the story. And then I'm going to deduct a couple points, obviously, because there was just, a little bit of that enjoyment was lost as I was missing things over and over again. So that's just my personal opinion as well. For the recommendation scale, I would definitely say like a 7 or 8. I think that most people would fall into the demographic that would love this type of read. I think there was just enough action, romance, comedy, with a little bit of mystery sprinkled on that most people would be able to enjoy this type of manga. And how likely would I be to return to this media? Very likely, because 1, I enjoyed the art, and 2, I feel like I missed a whole lot. And I feel like the more I read it, the more I glean from it, and the more I understand. So I will definitely be rereading this multiple times. That's a terrible reason to come back to something, but I feel like if I don't, there are those things that I would be missing. So overall, it's just a really wholesome read. It's great art. And I do recommend it, at least to those people who maybe fit into that demographic or do like a little bit of romance and drama and mystery. If you guys have other opinions or have read anything else by the author, please leave comments below. I love to read your comments regarding your experiences with these media as well, because like I said, I consume them, but it's very boring to consume them by yourself. You need to have somebody to talk to about them. So if you guys have experiences or opinions, please leave them in the comment section below and come back for other media reviews just like this one.